Hello and welcome to Intermediate Algebra, Unit 3, Lesson 3. This is the final of a series of 4 videos for this lesson. And we've been talking about finding equations of lines. In this one, we talk about finding equations of a line parallel to one we're given or a line perpendicular to one we're given. So those are our lesson objectives. We need to find the equation of a line parallel to a given line or find the equation of a line perpendicular to a given line. The whole concept behind this lesson in doing these is you have to understand how the slopes of the line you're given and the line you want are related. So parallel lines, you can see in this graph here, I have 2 lines there, and they are parallel. Hopefully you all know what parallel means. They're the same distance apart at any 2 points. But the thing about parallel lines is they have the same slope. They have the same steepness. And because of that, they'll never cross. So here's one line is 2x plus 2 and the other is 2x minus 3. And if you remember from slope-intercept form, that number in front of the x is the slope. So the slope is 2 for both of them. So those lines are parallel. Now we will use this idea that parallel lines have the same slope to take a line we're given and find the slope of that line and use it in the line we're supposed to find. So you're given the equation of line parallel to the one you're finding, and all you need from that is a slope, and you're also given a point for the line you're finding. So graphically, it might look like this. Here's your xy coordinate plane. You're given the equation of this line, so you pull its slope out, and they tell you you need to find some other line that's parallel to it through some other point. So they give you a point in that original line, and they want you to find the line with the same slope that goes through that point. So notice none of the points in the lines are the same. So the only thing you're going to use from the information they gave you about this blue line is the slope. So here are the steps. First, you find the slope of the given line and write it down. Then cross off that given line. Too many students want to go back and use the intercept from that line, and you do not need it, you do not use it, it does not apply to your problem. You write down the slope and cross off the line they gave you. Now, if you're taking a test or a quiz, you might want to do that in pencil, so if you made a mistake, you could go back and see what the problem was, but just don't go back and look at that line again once you use it to find the slope. So the slope of the line you want, because it's parallel, will be the same. And you're also given a point, so now we have a slope from the line they gave us and a point they gave us, and we can find the equation of a line using slope and a point. Remember, that's always what we need to find the equation of a line. So your goal, no matter what you're given in a problem, is to figure out the slope you need and see what point they gave you. If they gave you more than one, you just pick one of them. So find the equation of the line parallel to y equals x minus 5 that passes through the point 3, negative 7. This is a classic example of what we're doing. So the first step, you have to look at the line they gave you and decide what the slope is. And sometimes students get upset. They say, there is no slope. There's nothing in front of the x. Well, let's remember, in math, nothing could be replaced, imply several different things. In the case of a multiplier in front of a variable, nothing means there's an understood 1 there. So your slope is 1. That's where I get that slope from. So after you decide that the slope is 1, now here is your situation. You were given the point. You do not use that line again. Now I wouldn't cross it out completely so I couldn't see it if I were taking a test, but I would just put a gentle line through it with pencil, and you should always take your tests in pencil, so that I won't go back and try to use that minus 5. Students want to go back and use that, and it is not used. So now my problem has become just that of having a slope and a point and finding the equation of a line. I'll use slope-intercept form to find the equation, just to give you an example, and I suspect most of you are doing it that way. So here is the solution. My slope is 1, and that can be seen right here. My x and y coordinates, Here is y is negative 7, x is 3. Be careful of that. A lot of times we reverse them because they've given as 3, negative 7. But the first one we write down, if we write y on the left, is the y coordinate. So I get, this becomes negative 7 equals 3 plus b. And then I subtract 3 from both sides to get that negative 10. So my y-intercept is negative 10. My slope was 1, because that's what I figured out using the line they gave me. So there's my understood 1 in front of the x. So y equals x minus 10 is the line that answers the question. Remember, your answer, the form of your answer is usually given in the problem. You're supposed to find an equation. That means your answer should be an equation. So you try this one. Find the slope and use the point and find the equation of the line parallel to y equals 3x plus 5 through the point 3, 6. Stop the video, try it, and come back. The solution is on the next slide. Okay, you're back, and I'm assuming that you actually went and tried it. So slope is negative 3. Let's see what our problem was. Our problem, oh, I have a mistake there. The slope should have been positive 3. So let's do this one out again. The slope is positive 3. And x equals 3. Let me just double check that. Yep, slope is positive 3, x equals 3, y equals 6. So this becomes a positive 3. So I get 6 equals 9 plus b. I subtract 9 from both sides, and I get negative 3 equals b. So this answer should be y equals 3x minus 3. Now, if you had done that on a test, I would have at least seen where your mistake was. You would have lost some points because you didn't pick the slope out correctly, and neither did I. But that is the work you would show for that. Okay. So, I'll have to fix that for the future. Product of the slopes. This product of the slopes of the two lines is negative 1. So this is for perpendicular lines. Okay, so we're looking at perpendicular lines, and we have to look at the product of the slopes is negative 1. What does that mean? Well, looking at the graph, you can't always tell that perpendicular lines meet at right angles, and that's because your x-axis and your y-axis might not have the same spacing between numbers. But for perpendicular lines, for two lines to be perpendicular, any angle between them is a right angle. That's a 90-degree angle. So, well, how do we find the slope? If we had the red line, how do we find the slope of the blue line? Well, the slope of the red line times the slope of the blue line is going to equal negative 1 every time. So that means if I want the slope of the blue line, that's negative 1 divided by the slope of the red line. Or the other way around works too. Whichever slope I'm given, I do negative 1 divided by that to get the slope of the line I want. So that's the main concept, is they have to, the slopes of the line you're given and the line you want have to multiply to be negative 1. Two ways you could do that. You could set that up where you put both slopes, you write the slope you have times m equals negative 1 and solve it. Or you could just go to the point where you just, most students tend to go to the point where they just do this. We call that the negative reciprocal. The mistake students make mostly is they forget to change the sign from the slope they have. So if the slope of the line you were given is positive, your slope is going to be negative. If the slope of the line you're given is negative, yours will be positive. So you're given, this time you are given an equation of a line as part of your problem, and you're given a point, but you use the equation of the line to find the slope, and you find the slope a little differently. So this is similar to parallel lines where all you need is the slope from the line you're given. So you find the slope of the line you're given and write it down and then cross off that line. Particularly on perpendicular lines, students want to go back and use that y-intercept, and I don't know why that is. You have slope and you were given a point. You have to use the point they gave you. So you write down the slope you have, and then you find the negative reciprocal. That means, so if your slope is a fraction, you flip the fraction upside down and change the sign. If your slope is not a fraction, if your slope was -4, the negative reciprocal of that will be +1/4 because that's understood to be a 1 there. So you're flipping that and changing the sign. Okay, so you have to remember to change the sign. So you have the slope you need, and forget about the equation they gave you. Cross it off. And then you take the point you were given and find the equation of a line using slope and a point. Here's an example. Y equals 2x plus 6 and passes through 4, -5. The slope of the perpendicular line is 2. Therefore, I spelled that wrong, but that's okay. You can understand what that means. The slope of my line is -1/2. I took 2/1, was the slope I was given. I flip it, and I change the sign. Oh, sorry. So I have the slope I want, and I have the point given, and I use this to find the equation of the line. This time I did the right slope. So notice I'm not going back to that +6 at all. I should have just crossed that off. I don't need that +6. I just use the 2, and then I forget about the line they gave me. I use the 2 to get the -1/2 for the slope, and the point I plug in. Y is -5, x is 4, and I get y equals -1/2 x minus 3. And again, my answer is in the form of an equation of a line. So you try this one. I gave you y equals -3x plus 5, and I want you to go through the point 3, 6. Stop the video, try it, and return. Okay, you're back. So the negative reciprocal of -3 is +1/3. So I get a slope of +1/3, x is 3, y is 6, and I end up with y equals 1/3 x plus 5. If you didn't get that, or you didn't get the parallel line one, you need to get some help with this. Make sure you do that immediately. Thank you for joining me for this edition of Math Teacher to Go, and I will see you in class or in the next video.